Blessings to everyone. Okay, let's close our eyes for a moment. And allow yourself to sink inside of yourself like a stone that is thrown in a lake and it sinks slowly down to the bottom. Okay, open your eyes. Most welcome, everybody. So today we'll talk about something that is not the easiest subject. So you need to somehow activate now your mind function very well. Yeah, it's not going to be a relaxed talk in this way, but you need to somehow be present. So when we look at the reality, the so-called reality, the reality for us when we talk about reality is what is matter, right? It is the outside that when we wake up, for example, yeah, from sleep, we come back to reality, right? And the reality is usually something that you see outside of yourself, the matter, no? And so we say what matters, no? This is what it matters is the matter, no? Yeah. And this is the reality. And in the Buddhist tradition, for example, there is this saying that everything is created by our mind, no? Right? And we say more or less the same thing, no? Right? And there is two minds. Actually, there are three minds. Yeah, better to say three minds. So the first mind that we refer to it when we say mind is the mind that is, if we take the ocean as an image, it is the foam on the ocean. Yeah? And in that foam, we do not have really an understanding what is going on. This foam mind cannot give us very good answers, yeah, because it is living in a foam condition. It lives in a foggy kind of condition. It doesn't have the ability to answer deep questions about our existence or about ourselves. No. Already when we say, for example, you have an ego, you say, okay, I have an ego. Yeah. So how can you know that you have an ego? Yeah. If you can sit with yourself in the same way, then you can sit with others. There is no difference. Let's say you are as happy with yourself, not just an hour, but let's say for some days you sit with yourself and you are as happy with that condition as you sit with others for some days. Then you don't have ego. Yeah. It's probably very rare, right? For most of you, it is like this, that it is difficult for you to sit with yourself and to be happy. No? So the ego needs the other. Yeah. It appears when there is the other. It doesn't appear really when you are alone by yourself. Then it may just bother you and it has a kind of emotional pressure, but it really becomes active and alive when there is the other. No? So we do not need to think about much of the ego, actually. Yeah. It is not something that is your enemy. It is not something that you should make your enemy, because it is not. But it is also not something that can learn. Yeah. You cannot learn just being a separate entity that you have with others, right? This is why you think all the time about others and you think you need others and you think that you cannot live with this one or that one, without one or with one. It depends on which state you are at the moment, no? And we cannot do something about this, right? It cannot change. It appears only when you are with somebody, no? It needs this reflection, it needs this mirror, no? So you say you experience love, not with yourself, but you experience love through the other. And that makes us dependent and gives us all kinds of complications, no? And as we cannot understand ourselves through the ego, yeah, we cannot learn, and so we repeat. We can repeat the same and the same and the same thing over and over and over again. It is like thousands of times sometimes, no? And you say to yourself, well, this time I will do it better. Yeah? With the next one, I will do it better. And with the next one, you will do the same thing. Yeah? Until, until not the ego learned, but something in you that is not the ego awakens. No? And when that happens, then you will understand the changes. And the way that happens is by understanding the mind. You need to understand the mind. Forget about the ego for now. Yeah. There is nothing to understand about it. The ego is just there. Yeah. As your body is there. Yeah. There is not much to understand. Yeah. So the mind is everything. Mind is reality. Yeah. It is what you call reality, and not only what you call a reality, it is the reality. Yeah. Or let us say like this, it is the mind that creates our reality, and we cannot create anything outside of it. Yeah. We can also not perceive anything outside of it. So we have a mind that is a foamy mind, and that mind is difficult to create anything because it lives in a victim mode. Yeah. It doesn't know, and it feels insecure. It feels all the time threatened. It has so many fears and this and that. So this is not really the one that does well for you. And then we have the mental states. And the mental states are the ones that are what we would call the subconsciousness. Yeah. It is is the depth of the ocean. Yeah, but they are not separate. Yeah. And then we have a mind that vaporizes through the sun, that is always there. And when we look to the light, let's say, yeah, when we walk into the light, our mind starts to vaporize. And through this process of vaporization, we have different experiences that we cannot explain because they go also far beyond what we usually call our reality. Yet it is always and at every time created by us. I said it many times, the Creator creates creators. Yeah. It is written in all the holy books that we are Khalifatullah. Yeah. So what does that mean? You are Khalifatullah. It means simply you are the creator. Yeah. In what is given to you, in the orbit you give. And the way you create, first of all, is that you create a reality around you, a matter. You perceive matter in a way that it is relatively simple to deal with. It is not the reality as it is. It is a reality that everyone creates also different, right? And there are many experiments about that show that this theory is not just a theory, but it is actually a fact. Yeah. So if you do not expect certain things, for example, the gorilla experiment where there is people talking in a room and they are happily talking somehow as a kind of party, and there comes a guy with a gorilla costume and passes by, through the group of these people. And you will not see it. Yeah. You will not notice the gorilla, and then they will tell you, watch for the gorilla. Yeah. second time, and then you see the gorilla and you cannot believe that you haven't seen it before. Yeah. It's a very famous experiment. The next experiment, which is much more known, and it is an experiment in physics. Yeah, it's the so-called split or slot experiment, where electrons are shot to an iron platform that has two slots, right? And in the moment a person comes into the room where the experiment is done, the result changes dramatically. The way the electrons reflect on the background. Yeah. Okay. So that is one of the experiments. There's numerous other experiments that show it is the mind that creates the reality. There is nothing out of it. Yeah. You could also translate it with La ilaha illallah. There is nothing in existence, yeah, than this. Yeah. And whatever this mind is, you can call it consciousness. It has always a part of it conscious, but the main part, rumors in the subconscious, and this is where you get the problems from, no? Right? So in your consciousness, you have an intention, but the intention, the reality does not follow this intention for the simple reason you do not understand what is the major mind doing, the subconscious mind, no? As it creates, as your conscious mind. Your conscious mind doesn't create more, yeah, okay? It just creates this 3%, or some people say 1% that you have, and this is the success rate. Yeah, and so you feel, of course, I can do what I want in this life. Life is against me. I'm not the master of my life. I cannot find successful relationships, or I cannot find a good profession, or I cannot find whatever. Yeah, right? Because you create with 3% maximum. No? And this is a very frustrating experience because your mind tells you that it knows, right? It knows. And automatically, I don't have to tell you that you have to trust your mind, isn't it? Yeah, you trust your mind. There's nothing else you trust. You don't know what is the heart. You have no idea where is the heart really operating yet. No. But you trust your mind. You follow your mind day by day by day by day, moment by moment by moment. No? And this is how you create your reality. So you look in the mirror, you see yourself ugly. Yeah. It is your mind creating that. No. And you can see the proof that someone else maybe meets you the first time, says you're so beautiful. Yeah. And you think they want to make you compliments, but actually mostly for the others you look much more beautiful than for your own self. No. Because the mind has, we said it many times, has a negative polarity. Yeah. So it creates bad. Yeah. It creates wars. It creates conflict. It creates disaster. Yeah. And this is what every one of us does. We create permanently, one after the other, a conflict. We, thanks God, we are small ones, but if you become the president, you can easily create a war, right? Yeah. As you can see worldwide. No? It is just a normal man, but he has a different capacity, a different position to create. Yeah. So with this power, so-called power, yeah, he can create thousands of people dying, right? You cannot create the opposite of it. You see, this is also what you need to understand. The mind cannot create positive, it cannot create birth of others, right? It can create death, it can create hunger, can create unbalance, yeah. And to create something harmonious, you have to go and enlighten the mind in a way, you know. It has to become enlightened. It has to see the reality as it is. And to see the reality beyond this mind, it will be still another mind that sees. You cannot come out of it. Yeah. That's why, for example, some traditions say that the divine dreams us, yeah, which means it thinks us, right? And the dream is another proof of what we are saying. You see, when your mind goes into another state, you create automatically also another reality. That is your dream reality. Yeah. You dream, but what you dream with your mind, but what else? Yeah. Okay. And in that dream state, you have somehow often an access to the subconsciousness. So it dreams also very often out of the physical laws. You can do things or you dream things, you create things in the dream world that is not possible for you in the uh, so-called reality, right? Now there is not a reality. Yeah. There is, but the a reality is simply in the phrase of La ilaha illallah. It means there is nothing but it. Yeah. This is how you would translate it. Yeah. And of course, you can call the reality God because it is God. But let's say, not to stress you, those of you who have difficulties with that name, you can also say there is nothing but it. Yeah. Right. Now, when we talk about your free choice, you don't have absolutely spoken a free choice, but you have a choice. The choice is not the choice that you think you have. Yeah. The choice you have is what you are, what your mind state is in that moment. And this is the choice you will make. So when your mind state alters, let's say in 2 years you understand things different, you would say, why did I do that? Why did I chosen that? Yeah, it always irritates you that you make those bad choices, but it's not that you could make any better choice. You cannot change who you are, and who you are is a mental state, and that state creates. Yeah, I hope that is somehow clear. No? Right? So the way we operate to get better results, let's say in our state, is to first understand the foamy mind, the foggy mind, yeah. And this is a very limited mind. Yeah, it is a very heavy and it's a very painful state. It is a state that cannot do anything else than create pain. And that's what we all do until we don't do it. No? Because you wake up deeply in you, understanding that there is no other hurting you, no other doing anything to you. Yeah. But you did it. You are the creator. Yeah. And not a little bit. You are the creator absolute. No? And you experience the consequences of this creation. Right? Now, thanks God, it is not an absolute will that we have. Yeah. Because the absolute is the absolute, and that will happens. Yeah. There's no other will in reality happening, but in this reality that we have, yes, our will happens, and so a person can kill millions of people, right? Or some people, or a person that has the power over all the bombs and all this stuff can bomb up the whole entire planet in thousands of pieces, right? That he can create. No? But absolutely, it is in a form of simulation, you could say. So it is our will and yet it is not our will. Yeah, for our own safety, because we would possibly destroy the entire universe. No, right? We cannot live in the state of peace for one day on this earth as a collective. No, right? And I said it before, we should replace the word humanity or human mankind with the word human family. You have to think about the humanity as a human family. Yeah. Only then we have a chance to relate in the correct way with each other. No? If we are a family, we will not go sword by sword against each other or burn down the house of our brothers and sisters and so on and so on. Right? We will not do that. Yes. But we will do the opposite. We will start to help each other. We will start to try to give food to each other and so on and so on. Yes. This is what we do when we look at our family. Yes. Oh. So don't think anymore about your decisions. The decisions are made from the state you are. So when you are 20 years later and you find yourself very guilty and very ashamed of all that, forgive yourself because you have been that person at that moment. Now you are another person, and that person would not create this mistake again. So, in a way, you are fully responsible, but yet, no. Yeah. And this is why the dream, that is also a creation, in the dream we can do many, many things, very cool things, and we can experience very painful things, but we do not have consequences in the dream, right? When we betray somebody in the dream, no? Yeah, we make love with a neighbor or whatever, and then we wake up, it doesn't have consequences. We didn't do it. No? Now, in this level of reality, which is a reality as well as this reality, but as we are trained to think this reality is the only reality, we fix it. We are fixed into it, let's say. No? So the mind has no direct experiences, and this is what we can understand through the senses. We need an interface to touch reality, right? The interface is our senses, is our brain. And whenever we touch something, we have an interpretation of what is happening. Yeah. But we do not have a direct experience. No. So changing yourself, thinking you can change yourself by thinking, this is not going to happen. Yeah. You have to understand what your mind is, at which level, and then the first step would be you follow a certain pattern, a certain rules, a certain measurement that is shown in the traditions, that is shown in hundreds or thousands of years, working for you, working for mankind. Okay. Yeah. So you don't steal, you don't lie, you don't murder, and so on and so on. No, right? And you can choose any way. It doesn't mean you have to become religious, but you become um, truthful. Yeah? The truth is the element number one you have to look for. No, because the truth liberates. No, so in the condition we are into it, if we would wake up to the reality, what Mara used to say, if you would wake up to it, even a drop of it would make the entire humanity crazy. No, it's too hard to really understand what is going on and to see that you do not have an absolute will in that game. Yeah. So therefore, all the advices is surrender. Yeah. Don't take it so serious. Yeah. But just like relax basically. That's why I love this short meditation. Now Eckhart Tolle announced stop all the meditations, make these 2 minute things. I said it's things long. I'm very happy that he says it also now, yeah, because I like him. So so he says 2 minutes enough. Yeah, I say even 1 minute is enough. Just close your eyes and let yourself think. Sing, 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 and allow yourself to enter into a nowhere state, in a no time state, and so on. Time, again, is something that the mind creates. Yeah, that is also very important for you to understand. So when you say to yourself, I have no time, yeah, you slaughter yourself basically. Yeah. You always have time. There is time because you are the time. No. And if you say, I have no space, it's the same thing. There is space, of course, for you, but you have to make it. Yeah. Yeah. If you don't, if you always live by others' attention and by others' approval and by others' love, then most probably your life feels very, very small. Yeah. You don't give space to yourself. Yeah. You give it to all the others to please them and so on and so on. And finally you find yourself squeezed to the top, right? And you don't know anymore where are you? Where is myself? No. So take the space that you need, that serves not only you, that serves everyone around you as well. No. And like this, we learn to observe that when we feel peace, when we feel a kind of harmonious aspect in our life, that we did it, that we thought well, that we created well. No? And if the same happens and happens again, then on that topic you have to look, right? But not to think. You have to go down in the cellar where the distortion, where the misinterpretation happened. And this is called in the modern psychology a trauma. Yeah. You got, it's an interesting word, no? Because it's a German word, it means just dream. So you got traumatized, yeah, in something that is called a dream. Yeah. Isn't it interesting? Because you cannot grab it mentally. You cannot grab it with your normal consciousness. You cannot know it because it all happens in our childhood. You see, when a child is born, yeah, in the first 3 years, it doesn't have the differentiation between the outside and the inside. Yeah. And it has not the control over its body. Yeah. So it makes pee pee and all this stuff that parents are not amused about it until 3 years. Then after usually it stops. No, right? And the child communicates, and it communicates with sounds. Yeah, it doesn't need a language. It communicates with mimics. It's very expressive. But it understands that the parents do not understand. Yeah. It feels there is no communication. No. So finally, more and more, the child will adapt to the communication that the parents teach it, and that means forget about reality. Yeah. Right. The reality is painful. No. It's hard. Life is hard. Life is effort. Life is shocker. Yeah, life is a trauma in itself. No? Yes? This is why you run to the therapist or you run God knows where and say, do something. I'm finished here. I don't know what to do. Yeah. Then it helps, in fact, when someone else thinks about your life. Yeah. Right? And that interpretation will be a total different one because it's not involved. Yeah. So even a very normal person can say to you, okay, something doesn't work here in your life. Yeah. You all the time do this and this and this and this. No? Yeah. It is not easy. because somewhere you have to trust yourself. And what we need to trust, or what we should trust, and that is also not easy, is what we call the intuition. No? Our intuition is also a thing that is widely misunderstood. Yeah. But there are some signs, no? And this is, for example, is a very good sign. And it happens still to me, sometimes very rare, but once in 5 years it happens and it makes me very angry still. Is, for example, it says, the intuition says, get the umbrella, but it is total blue sky, yeah, completely blue sky. And the app says it stays blue sky. There will be no rain. But my intuition says, get the umbrella, yeah. So of course, then the second thought comes in and says, come on, man. The app says no rain. The sky is blue. What you want to carry an umbrella for, you know? So you say, okay, no umbrella. Of course, half an hour later, boom, it rains. Yeah. Maybe it just rains in our area because that's the next thing. You are, or we are, also the weather. Yeah. I know that sounds very crazy for you because you know the weather is made by carbon dioxide, whatever, in the atmosphere, and now everything warms up and so on. Yeah, we warm up. Yeah. Didn't you notice that everyone gets angrier, crazier, and short patiently than ever before? Yeah. The politicians are not politicians any longer. They are all in a kind of mad state, yeah, impulsive state, right? Just reacting to each other like little children, yeah. Yeah, you're not nice to me, I send you some atomic submarines, so badge, badge. Yeah, right? Yeah. And you're not nice to me, I can also I make taxes pop, yeah, because we are now a little bit poor and we don't know how to pay the debts, and it would be a good idea if all of you pay our debts because we are so great, yeah, right? I mean, hello, yeah. And then the others say, "Oh, this is not nice from you," yeah. You said, "Yeah, but you know, it's not nice anymore. We're not nice anymore," yeah. And then you feel hurt and you say, oh, they broke their promises and they broke their this. Yeah, my goodness, you know, what can you expect? Yeah, right. So we are the weather. Yeah. And we are everything. And when you understand that, you can create a little climate for you, for your area, for your space, uh, not only the space on the ground, even the airspace, you will start to create it. Yeah. And when everyone understands that, in no time we will create a beautiful world again because we all know how it looks like, how it should like, how it should be like. We all know it. It's not that you have to teach anybody, oh, be generous, share, help each other, and so on. No one has to teach you that. We all have the same understanding of it, isn't it or not? Yeah. So this, I call it also the baby mind, you know. The baby mind is the mind that looks at itself and says, I am unable to do anything. Yeah. I'm weak. I cannot understand. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. If you speak like this to yourself, you know, good night at 8. Right. Then you say, I'm a baby. Yeah. And then you look for a mother or a father. And who wants to be your mother and your father? You don't want the mother that you have. Yeah. You don't want the father that you have. You say, this is not good. This is bad father, bad mother. Yeah, they are not good. They didn't love me. Yeah. So you want someone to become your father, to become your mother. Yeah. And if you find someone that has this tick, yeah, I have this tick a little bit, yeah. So then they say, okay, okay, I adopt you, right? Yeah. I adopt you and I help you and so on, right? But if that is just a tick and there is no real consciousness behind, there is no nothing else, then you know you go both down the hill, you know, right? That's not good also. Yeah. And if that is the foundation of your relationship, good night at 8, because no one wants to have a baby at home. Yeah. Yeah, except the babies you have already. Therefore, the more you can silent the form, yeah, the foamy mind on the top of your ocean, that you are the ocean. That's why Rumi said, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are an ocean in the drop. Yeah? How good is that? Right? So they all knew. They all knew, they just couldn't say it. Now we have science that through the various experiments that they have, they enforce this view. Yeah. And if you really go further, there is no other conclusion for you by your own experiences that what we are just said. Yeah. You are the center of your universe. Yeah. Okay. And you feel that. And there is nothing that can make you not to feel it. But in that state, you feel alone. Yeah. There's a lonely, lonely universe. No? And this is not the reality. So when you go deep, 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 where the separation happened, yeah, that happened very, very early. When you come to that point where the separation happened, you just open your eyes again. You just feel practically overnight connected and fearless. Yeah, as much as it is possible. Yeah, there can be moments where uh, the fun is over. Yeah, but basically, most of you live in a very comfortable zone, in a very comfortable range of situation. So there you can easily practice, right? And this is what you should do. Yeah? You practice when the situation is easy, because when it becomes very terrible, it's difficult to practice. All right. I hope you could understand something of what I said. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you forget it, it's okay, never mind. But we said it, okay, we said it, and we will say it again. No, inshallah, we say it again, and I will try to make it uh, easier to understand. For now, look to the light, meaning understand that the sun is always there, even it is night. The sun is there. It is the permanent light in our existence. Yeah. So we have to look to it. The moon is there. No, these are the main spots, and we follow their rhythm. Yeah, because this is what the reality shows. Yeah, there are rhythms, so we follow it, and we follow the principles of simplicity, of a life that doesn't uh, take everything, even it could, but lives basically simple life. No? And we follow the principle of truth radically, and that will lead us to love. Yeah. As we said before, love can never be created by any artificial intelligence. Yeah. It cannot understand it because it cannot be embraced by mind. It has no logic. Yeah. It is purely analog. It is purely out of the machine. So when you come in a loving state, no, in an intuitive state that also the machine cannot know, yeah, there is no intuition for the machine, then you become greater than the machine. If we forget ourselves, who we are, the machine logically will take over completely. Yeah. That is the danger. Now, unfortunately, many parents feed their children just through the machine. No, this is a major mistake. And as long as we do that, we enslave ourselves to this grid, to this pulsation of the machinery life, of this very heavy, heavy pulsation, right? That kills our intuition and also the ability to be empathic and to be creative. No? You have the best. You're far beyond any machine. It is us who created it. Yeah, don't forget it. Yeah, we created the computer, so who's greater, the computer or us? Yeah, you have to think it. No? Of course, you are greater, but we delivered ourselves to our own creation, right? This is crazy. Yeah, this is how, as if you would ask the car, where do we drive now? Yeah, and the car will say, oh, let's drive to God, God knows where, and you say, super, yeah, what a wonderful idea. Okay, yeah, you're the driver, right? That's why we don't like automatic driving, yeah. Who drives home, yeah? You or the machine? Come on, you know. It's no fun to be driven, yeah, to be looked after with everything that the machine gives all the answers. Yeah, what should I do if my wife doesn't love me? Oh, they will give you thousands of answers, you know. Yeah, don't go there. Be in contact with yourself. Trust yourself. Yeah, trust yourself. You are the creator. Yeah, find it out yourself. Thank you so much and wishing you all the best. I'm very happy to see you. Yeah, nothing is granted, my dear ones. Keep that in mind. And um, so everything is a big gift for us. You know, all the best to Turkey, China, and all over the place, wherever you are, Italy, and I don't know if anyone from America, South Africa, we have also, mashallah. Yes. So all the best wishes to wherever you are. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.